What's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting, and welcome to this new review video. Today we're talking about the Desert Tech MDR once again. Now this is their updated Desert Tech MDR. They've added some new updates to it since my last review. So I did a review on this a couple months ago, and it wasn't great, unfortunately. Like I really liked the gun. I liked the gun in theory. There's a lot of things to like about it, but unfortunately it was just too unreliable at that point. So since then, Desert Tech saw that video, they reached out to me, they said, hey, we've made a bunch of updates, and you guys know that. I mean, on my last video, there was a bunch of you guys in the comments saying, hey, I have this gun, I was able to send it in to Desert Tech, they do all the updates for you for free, send it back, and you've got a fully functioning, badass gun. And that's what they did. They, as I said, they reached out, they said, hey, let us get one of our updated guns in your hands and see if it fixes these issues that you experienced. So they really listened to the community, they watched all these review videos, and I gotta say, man, they responded. So they sent this thing out. This is the MDR chambered in 308. Now, keep in mind that the accessories that we threw on here, these are not standard with the gun. So there's like the ACOG, the light, the handle, stuff like that. Those things aren't standard on the gun. They wanted to trick it out. I told them to trick it out. I told them to make it look good for the video. So they did that for me, and I appreciate that. But just keep in mind that the review itself is only gonna be based upon the core gun itself. So with all that said, I don't really wanna dive too deep into the tech specs of the gun. I did do that in the last video, and I'll link that video down in the description below so you can see kind of my first impressions and really get the overall feel for the gun itself. I do talk a little bit more in depth about the feel of the gun, the tech specs and things like that. So anyways, just to give you a quick overview, if this is your first time checking out the gun, so as I mentioned, this is the Desert Tech MDR. That stands for Micro Dynamic Rifle. The three words they use to describe this gun is portable, adaptable, and ambidextrous. So the reason they're calling it portable, it's the bullpup style. It's kind of keeping everything really nice and tucked in here. You've got your mag back here. You've still got a 16-inch barrel. It's very, very portable, right? You can move really easily with this as opposed to like a full 16-inch normal AR-15 that's gonna be a lot longer. This thing just allows you to maneuver a little bit easier. Weight-wise, it's coming in at 8.3 pounds. Now they're calling this thing adaptable because you can actually change out the caliber pretty easily. So this whole handguard will come off, the barrel will come out. You can change it from 308 to 556 to even 300 blackout, I believe. In fact, they sent over an additional handguard to try out with a vertical grip. This one's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer to cover up something like a suppressor or this flash can here. This one is kind of the standard one that it comes with, but it's a pretty simple process to switch out. And finally, they're calling out ambidextrous because it really is ambidextrous. You have a charging handle on both sides here. You have a mag release on both sides. You have a mag release on the mag well itself. You can even switch the ejection port to the other side, which I will show you in a range clip here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, regardless if you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, if you're switching on the fly, this thing will fully function either way, which is a pretty cool setup. I think it definitely does live up to all three of those descriptor words. Okay, so there's the quick overview on the gun itself. Now let's talk a little bit about my experience with the updated MDR. So first off, I want to mention that I ran 200 rounds through this gun. The last review I did, I didn't even run 40 rounds. I had two magazines fully loaded, 20 rounds each, and I couldn't get through them because of the constant malfunctions. So going into this one, I was really hoping that wasn't the case. I shot 200 rounds, 10 magazines through this thing without a single malfunction. It was incredible. It was like seriously night and day. It was a different gun, and it was an absolute blast to shoot. So the first thing I did was obviously just kind of sight in the ACOG real quick, just to make sure I was hitting somewhere around what I was looking at. All right, see how it looks. So 10 rounds, no support, and I mean, not really taking my time, but there's all 10 rounds in there. That's what I wanted to make sure of, that I was just, you know, within a critical mass situation. And then the next thing I wanted to try is, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't just cycling because I was taking it slow. I was taking my time and lining shots up. So I ran two full magazines, so 40 rounds through this, and without stopping. There were, you know, I was trying to go ding, maybe a double tap, and then I would just dump like 5 or 10 rounds, and I'd go back to single rounds. But I wanted to make sure that this could cycle whatever I threw at it. And as I mentioned, it did. 40 rounds, 0 malfunctions. That's it. You can see that thing smoking. And you can also switch the ejection port very easily. So just flip off this cover here, replace the cover from the other side with the ejection port, put this cover here, Let's go shoot this thing left-handed. And I didn't really do any distance shooting. I mean, all I had on here was this ACOG. In the last video, I went out to 50 yards just to show you, but I mean, it's chambered in .308. It's got a 16-inch barrel. Objectively speaking, that can reach out very far, assuming you have, you know, the optics or just the ability to shoot that far. The thing really did perform flawlessly. Changing mags was much easier than the last time. If you remember on the last video, I could not press that button in. I mean, it was all I could do. I had to double stack my fingers and really dive into that button to eject the mag. It's a pretty regular press now, which I love. They also, the safety selector switch, last time it felt a little bit gooey, and I didn't think that they would change this, but there's a very, very positive click now. Honestly, all of the cons I had with this gun were remedied in these updates. That's a huge ups to Desert Tech for listening to their community, for responding, for taking ownership of those kind of reliability issues they had and making this thing an absolute stunner of a gun. I had an absolute blast shooting this. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that it was Desert Tech that reached out to me, that sent me this gun. Maybe this is one of their media guns or something they send to reviewers. I get that. I get that they're going to make sure this thing is performing flawlessly before they send it out. So with that being said, I think as long as their standard off-the-shelf guns run like this gun does, there's no problems. This finally feels like a $2,500 gun. This thing feels powerful. I talked about the .308 cartridge in my last video with this thing. It doesn't beat up your shoulder like a, you know, like a .308 bolt gun or something. It just feels powerful, and it's an absolute blast to shoot, man. So I feel like all I have to say are super positive things, because all the cons I had in the last videos, they genuinely did address. So with all that being said, I'm a big fan of this gun. From my understanding, if you bought one of these prior to the updates, you can send it in to Desert Tech and they'll hook you up with the updates for free. So I think that's super cool. I think that's super cool that they stand by their product that much. As I mentioned, price on this one is about $2,500, or MSRP anyways. I think MSRP on the 5.56 version is just under $2,300. So it certainly is a pretty penny, and I think when you're paying for that, you expect pretty much perfection, you know what I mean? So I'm glad that they've made this thing run like a $2,500 gun. So that is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the updated review of the Desert Tech MDR. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But man, I had an absolute blast shooting this thing. So if you want to follow along kind of behind the scenes as we go out to the range, shoot these things, shoot all the new products and stuff like that, I post all that on the Instagram stories. The Instagram handle is @GLShooting, so go make sure to check that out. Yeah, we've still got the new Give Rise hoodies and Give Rise hats in stock. If you're interested, make sure to grab yourself one of those, and I will see you next time on Greenlight Shooting. Thanks so much for watching.